Stone Paxton Music and Life. Welcome to my channel. For all those that are not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like, and also make sure you hit that bell to get the notifications for all my latest videos. Stone Paxton Music and Life. And the topic of this video, I know you guys are like, what is Stone talking about now? Is this going to be a rant? Is this going to be another one of these videos that Stone does about the music industry that keeps you on the edge of your seat? Yes. This is another one of those videos that will keep you wondering and guessing as an artist. And not only that, it will keep you focused on the fact that you need to pay attention to making sure that you are keeping your relationship with your fans, that direct relationship with your fans, which is, by the way, important if you plan to be an artist who's going to be in this business for years and years to come, right? Listen, I have been in this business for a long time, and to take you back to how many years, I've been in this business during the analog revolution, which was a long time, long period of time. The analog revolution lasted a long time, right? And it's currently still happening because you have what you call the hybrid system. There's still people utilizing, like myself. I still utilize the analog way of doing things as well as the digital age. But when I say the analog revolution, because that was such a vital part of the history of music, and everything that you hear in music was generated and created from that movement of analog. Now today and age, we're in a different we are in a different day and age with this digital revolution that has taken over. I can remember when I first got an email from the Orchard. This is when I was with the Orchard back in the day, before, like I said, the Orchard and Sony connected, before Sony came in and invested into a relationship with the Orchard. I remember the email that I got from the Orchard saying that they were going off into this direction of something called digital distribution. And I thought that was strange, right? So I got on the phone and I was calling everybody in the music industry that I knew. And I kept saying, hey, man, in the future, stores are going to close. Stores are going to close, man. They're going to completely close. And, there's not going to be any physical record stores. And everybody thought that I was crazy. Back in 1995, 1997, 1998, when I would say this to people, everyone thought that I was just crazy, right? And it was just interesting to know that I was looked at as this guy who was like outside of the box thinking crazy, right? And for everybody I knew in the industry, people with names that I knew thought that Stone is losing it. This guy's talking about stores are going to close. And people were actually telling me, Stone, stores are not going to close. Stone, as long as there is music, stores are not going anywhere. That's what people said to me. Stone, as long as there are stores, music is not going anywhere. And then they said, as long as there is not music, they said, as long as there's music, stores are not going anywhere. So corrected myself on that, not the other way around. And I said, well, hey, man, listen, I'm with this company called The Orchard, man. And I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you guys what's going to happen. Nobody listened to me. Nobody. Now, anybody that was in my life at that time, if they're watching this podcast, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, he's telling the truth. Oh yeah, he's telling the truth. I was on the front end of the digital revolution and didn't even realize that I was. I didn't realize I was, because you got to remember, the Orchard was on the front end of that digital revolution. Before there was a DistroKid, before there was a TuneCore, before there was a CD Baby, any distributors that you see, before there was a brand artist coalition, the Orchard was on the front end. The Orchard was on the front end of the digital revolution. They started that movement along with iTunes. So I remember the email with them saying they're partnering up with with iTunes, and they're gonna deliver music to, guess what? These right here, iPhones. I was like, man, that's crazy. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, music on the phones? Like, you got to think back then that was like way over the top, because we had the Walkman. Yeah, we would wear around in our little fanny pack and with the headphones, and so I was trying to imagine, wait a minute, a phone with music on it, right? I'm trying to imagine that, like, dang, so you'll be able to take your phone. This is how crazy it was to hear that back then, right? Man, a phone with the music on it, right? Like, that's going to be crazy. So I'm telling people in the industry this. I am telling people this story. And I sounded like I was a complete nut back in 97, back in 98, back in 99 when it started, when it kicked off, right? When the digital revolution started. And even when it started, it didn't catch on until later. People didn't start paying attention until it kicked off in 99. People didn't start paying attention until around maybe 2010. Some people start calling me around 2010, like, hey, Stone, remember you was telling me years ago? I'm like, yeah. Hey, man, tell me more about that. Because what happened was the major record labels, too, were trying to figure out what they were going to do with all the catalogs they had not been consolidated for digital. So they needed a company that was going to be able to show them how they can collect their money, because they didn't understand that model. The Orchard did, because the Orchard created that model, right? So these companies had to go to the Orchard to get that thing, y'all. They had to go to the Orchard to get it, because they didn't understand. All these major companies had no idea what was going on. They were lost. When the digital revolution hit, there was a standstill with the major labels like this. We don't know what to do. What do we do with our catalogs? So there were a lot of, when digital music started to come out, some of your favorite groups still you couldn't find. And that was because they were not monetized and the catalogs had not been ingested in the digital system and the metadata created so that they can have that product out. Plus the major labels didn't know. They had to create the relationships with the Orchard so that the Orchard can encode and monetize their product, right? So that movement was crazy. Guess what? I was on the front end of that. You hear everybody talking about digital this, streaming. I was on the front end of that, you guys. I know you say Stone's been involved with a lot of stuff. Yes, I have. Believe it or not, man, I have. Like, I've been able to be so lucky to be on the front end of things that I can't even believe I was a part of at the beginning of it. So here I am on the front end of that. Okay, 1999. 97 when my relationship with the Orchard. But 99 when the digital revolution started to go into full play, right? We're seeing that again now. What is happening now? And then you got to understand, stores start to close. Everything I said was going to happen start happening. My phone start ringing. Sam Goody closed. Warehouse closed. All the major physical brands were closing where you went to get the physical CD. They were closing. And people were in a whirlwind. Nobody knew what they were going to do. They weren't prepared. That's the whole point of being ready, staying ready. You don't have to get ready. So I was on that front end, you guys. I was on the front end. Now, the good part about me being on the front end of that was I also still have my record label, Prodigy Records, right? I created Prodigy Records in 1994. So I was on the front end of Prodigy Records, my label. I had 5 or 6 artists on my label. I was taking them out on the road, touring. We were doing the physical CD sales. I was setting up autograph sessions in record stores. We were doing tours. I was creating tours for my artists. I wasn't even focused on me as an artist because I was so busy helping other artists. I really didn't focus on myself. But I was a visionary, still like I am now. I saw the future. So I was preparing for that future, right? One good thing that I did, I always made sure I built relationships with my artists and their fans, okay? Because I knew when in doubt, if everything else falls out, that fan to artist relationship will never go away. That relationship is not going anywhere, you guys. You understand what I'm saying? That relationship with your fans stays as long as you're giving them quality product, as long as you're giving them you. Because once you've given them you as an artist, they're not going anywhere, okay? So as long as you give them you, they're not going anywhere. They're happy, they're excited, They want a piece of what you're doing. They love your music. They love your movement. They love your brand. Fast forward to the future. We are now in another digital revolution. Let's call this the second level of the digital revolution. The second phase. Let's call this the second phase of the digital revolution. So when you're reading the topic at the top where I say AI owns your music, I say that to get your attention as an artist to pay attention to what I'm saying. AI owns your music. That depends. What do I mean? Now you have AI mastering, right? Now you have guys as producers who might not be super talented, but with AI technology, they can tell AI, hey, do this. I want this kind of beat. And boom, AI spits it out for them. Somebody asked me, what's my thoughts of the technology with AI? I see Timberland embracing AI. And as a partner, a business partner, I can understand why he's doing that. I can understand why he has chosen to embrace the AI technology as a businessman, as a business model. But as a producer, I don't think personally that I would, and I'll tell you why. Because I think, and this is my personal opinion, I feel that AI is setting artists up for failure in the future. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, the big argument in the music industry with artists after they finally woke up and started learning about publishing and copyright was, I got robbed. This is what you hear a lot of artists saying, a lot of major artists, right? You know, you don't hear it much for the younger artists these days, but you're hearing it with a lot of the old school artists. They robbed me. They took my publishing. I didn't know because they didn't read their contract. They did not pay attention to the small print where it said that, you know, we own your masters or your copyright throughout perpetuity, throughout the universe, you know, the physical, the terrestrial, so here on Earth and beyond, outer space. They cover all that territory, right? So, and throughout the universe, when you hear that, throughout the universe, they making sure the Milky Way, Mars, Jupiter, right? They're covering their butts. But because we as artists do not read these agreements, because we're excited to sign to a label. The old school artists, the labels wanted them to focus on music. So I don't necessarily blame the artists from the 50s and 40s for not properly reading their contract, especially as black artists. They didn't have the money to have attorneys like that back then, especially when they were starting off. It's either you sign the contract or, you know, we don't put you out. So it's not like they could go afford an attorney when they were barely living. So, but once they made the money, I felt like they could have went back and revisited that contract. And many of them did. And when they did, things happened to them, like they would end up magically passing away or end up dying in a weird car accident, because some of them got smart enough to say, hey, you know what, I need to go back. Like how Sam Cooke passed away, you know, because he started his own first black distribution company. He was really getting all the artists together, and a lot of people was going to go under Sam Cooke's record company and distribution, and magically he passed away when he decided that he was going to be a businessman and take control and keep control of his copyright and his publishing. We are in that age of that new transition. That same thing that happened then can possibly happen now. And what do I mean by that? If you're an artist and you're looking to keep control of your future, if you're an artist who feels like they have something special, or you got a following and people are actually buying your records and they're interacting with you and you're getting people to really love on you as an artist. And if you're not, somebody paying attention to this who just inspires to be greater than they are and have plans of being an artist that stands out in the music industry in the future and have, you know, records come out and hits, and you plan to be a force to be reckoned with. This conversation is also for the experienced artists as well as the up and coming artists, from somebody that has been an artist all of his life. I've been an artist all my life, so the subjects I speak on, I'm only speaking on what I know. We are in the second phase of the digital revolution. AI owns your music is me saying, if you decide to use AI, there are some things with copyright and publishing, and especially copyright, that you have to consider. If I am a non-talented person, what is non-talented? Somebody with no talent, somebody that can't sing, somebody that does not play an instrument. And I say, hey, Mr. AI, here's my voice. Hello, hello, hi. It recognizes my voice. Write me a song like a Drake song, and I want to rap about love and relationship. And it goes, boom, there's a song. Here is your song, AI, right? And you're like, oh man, I'm an artist now. It's making it way too convenient it's just like the digital revolution. When physical was happening, we didn't have many artists, because if you didn't have a major record deal or you didn't have major distribution, you weren't about to have no album out, because you can cut in your and back then you had to cut into major studios, and most of the studios were $120 an hour. So back then we didn't have a lot of artists. It wasn't a lot of competition. We didn't have to worry about what we're worrying about now with music. We didn't have a lot of people doing it. I can remember the time where you can count on your hand in your town how many people were actually doing music in whatever city you were in around the world. Now, your cousin's a rapper, the uncle, the mailman, the dog down the street, the cat, the waitress, the bus driver. Everybody's a rapper and somewhat a singer, because singing takes a certain amount of talent. But we got rappers at every corner, like liquor stores and in the hood. You understand what I'm saying? In churches. So with AI, and I'm not going to say it levels the playing field. It just gives, it opens up a Pandora's box and floodgate of problems in the future. Not just because there's tons of untalented people that will be able to tap into that system, but also because when you use that technology untalented, you're not going to be able to gain off of that in the future, because the AI company will own whatever you do. It's just like you sign into a major record label. Listen, I'm telling you the truth. I'm really only being honest with you. Like, you use AI technology. Let's say the record blows up. Guess who owns the copyright? I'm just saying. Because it's written by a robot. It's not written by you. It's arranged by a robot. It's arranged by the company that created the system to give you the opportunity to have access to that. Because you didn't create it and that robot did. They own it. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you the truth. These are copyright issues that will come into play in the future for you. You will not own that material. Now, there's guys who are kind of taking their music and having AI embellish certain things with their music. Would I trust that in the future? I don't even think I would trust that, because you're still using their system to help create something. So that can be considered co-production. And the AI technology, the company that you're using, can and will claim that on the copyright and publishing side. So I'm just educating you on the real, man. AI owns your music. And me saying that is me speaking to all those that are just having these crazy ideas. And then not only that, with this AI, it's going to be a headache that's going to flood the market with just unwanted material, which makes it bad for the real artists that are actually creating their music. It's going to change the scope. Spotify, iTunes are all right now, as I'm speaking, changing the way they're going to even deal with artists. Matter of fact, they're trying to figure out how to turn this into a, kind of like the structure of some site to where they connect your fans directly to you, when that's something you can do yourself. Kind of like an OnlyFans. You go on there, they might have a subscription, or, where you can get the t-shirts and all that. Why give somebody a piece of your element when you can go direct to fans yourself? But iTunes and Spotify are scrambling to try to figure out how they're going to get the piece of the pie of the second phase. These companies are smart now. iTunes and Spotify are smart companies. They're trying to figure out where the next phase is going. This second digital phase is going that direction. I'm telling you, it's going that direction. With AI, you are not going to own your music. I don't know if you thought about that. Everybody, ooh, AI, AI. You know, Timberland got artists, feeling like they're just gonna, and you gotta understand, Timberland is a producer. If he uses AI and he's at the top tier level, he's sitting at the executive level. So they're not gonna take Timberland's copyright. They're not gonna touch it. They're not gonna touch his publishing, but they'll touch yours, independent artists. They'll touch yours for sure, because Timberland's on the executive side. He's lobbying for the company because he's getting a percentage of the company, I'm sure. And I love Timberland's work. But I'm talking about as a businessman, Timberland speaks, some artists go, that's the truth, right? I got to roll with what Timberland says. But if I'm transparent with you, like I was saying on the last video, then you're not going to go with it. If I tell you the truth, if Timberland was telling artists, hey, man, listen, yeah, AI is incredible, you guys, it's incredible, bro. But listen, you're not going to own your copyright. If he told artists that, they would be like, whoa, what? I am not going to own my copyright? No, you're not going to own your copyright. People will be turning off the channel and be like, I ain't even messing with AI. If you read the fine print with AI, if you read the disclaimers on any AI site, they're going to own the copyright. You're using their technology. I mean, how you think they're going to make money? You think they're just going to make money by making you pay a fee every month? No, they're smart. These companies are in business to win. That is, AI is the future. You think they're going to be on the losing side? Hell no. Trust me, they're not. AI is the new digital second phase of the new digital revolution. And it's good and it's bad. It's good and it's bad. I tell artists, you got to go direct to consumers. I've been doing that for years. Every time I drop an album, my vinyl's in stores in Japan, Germany, they still buy vinyl. I make my fans buy direct the vinyl or the CDs direct from me. There's a few changes I'm making in the future with direct to consumers, myself, me as an artist, because I am an artist, you guys. But the future of AI is going to saturate the market just like digital did. When digital came out, you got you got a lot of wasted space with digital. And what do I mean? You got artists that are putting out trash music. They don't care, man. They figure they're going to blow up like Drake or XXXTentacion, right? They're just throw it out. Problem is, it makes it harder for the great artists, the artists that are writing quality material, because now iTunes and Spotify are going to go into a system of venting new artists. A system of venting new artists. All right? And through that venting, they will go. I just had a meeting about this. I had my yearly meeting with the distribution company, my company, that I'm CEO over. We had a meeting about this conversation, the future of where it's the model and where things are going. AI is effing things up for the future, because you got people who are using artists' voices and they're creating these remixes and they're hustling. They're like, ooh, I done figured out a way for a new hustle. Let me type in Drake type song with Drake's voice. And now that's creating another copyright issue with the distribution companies, where the distribution companies are going, whoa, man, listen. Now Drake's estate or another major artist's estate now is going after distributors going, hey, man, that's my voice. That's my intellectual property. That's my name. You can't use that. So AI is a double-edged sword. It's helping undeveloped musicians and artists who can't sing or write or produce come up with material. It's also hurting, and it can really hurt the industry, because when we get to where the market is so saturated, it can actually cause a collapse of the digital system that works for artists that are really doing the work. Think about what I'm saying. If this market gets so oversaturated with AI product, people that we know are not going to go out and tour on this AI stuff, but people that are just AI. And from my meeting, I was told there's people putting out AI content in conglomerate blocks of stuff, like dropping like 50 AI songs at a time, which is going to make it bad for any artists that are out here doing serious work. You really need to pay attention to AI. I'm all for the future of technology, but I'm not for the future of technology that's going to hurt an independent artist's future at being a great independent artist and advancing to the future. AI is not going to help you advance. It might help you advance at that moment. That technology, you might be excited. Like I saw how excited Timberland was about AI, but he's not sharing with you the other stuff. He's not telling you that, guess what? They're going to own the copyright. And do you really want, you're paying, even if you're paying $30 a month to use the AI system, you're like excited, like, oh man, I did this beat. You know, you're telling people you did this beat, but AI did it. And AI is smart enough to go, those companies are smart enough to go, man, listen, man. You did that beat. Nah, we did that beat. We own the copyright, man. But hey, it's cool. Go ahead and put it out. And they own the copyright. And you're excited about telling people you did it because you pay that whatever fee every month to use AI. But then that technology is the one that's going, doing the variable number, hip-hop song, R&B song, house, EDM. And you never put your finger on nothing. You just told it what to do. And it went and did it. Who is the copyright owner? Who is the writer of that work? Think about what I'm saying. Who's the writer of that work with that AI system you use? Who wrote that? You or the computer? The computer program, AI. That's who wrote it. So if you own AI, I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you own AI, the technology, and your system, you created a system that was writing and arranging songs for artists, would you give them the complete ownership of that? And be honest and transparent with yourself. Would you give them the ownership of that material and be like, yeah, you can keep the ownership of it, even though I created the technology that's spitting out those songs for you? Yeah, go ahead, man, just keep it. I don't think you would. As a businessman, it wouldn't make sense. I can understand why AI is like, we own the copyright. Artists, listen, the direct to fan model is something nobody will ever be able to compete with. Learn to build your fan base. Learn to create the direct relationships with your fan. This stuff is changing fast. And as I'm telling you, pay attention to what I'm saying. You're going to see in the future, if you use AI, you're not going to come out on the other end in any good way. You're not. Just like when digital started, the market's so oversaturated. If an artist doesn't have a budget, it's hard to be seen. Or if an artist doesn't have a brand, it's kind of like you don't even have an album out because there's so many people putting out digital records. The same thing with AI. Times 400. Imagine you're competing with somebody sitting there just telling AI to create all this and put it out. Now you as an independent artist can't even get a shine because there's a dude in his bedroom, little young dude, and he's just creating AI stuff, which, by the way, he's not going to own, but it's making it harder for you as an artist to get seen and heard because now you just got people who's hustling. They're not a musician. They're not artists. They're just on a hustle. This is why when you create the direct-to-fan relationship, nobody can compete with that. Nobody can own that but you because those are your fans. Create that direct-to-fan relationship where you're selling directly to your fans. Your T-shirts, your music, all that. Because the future is that. If you don't prepare for that, then you're going to be left in the dust just like what happened with digital. That's why I was happy I was on the front end of that. And trust me, you got to listen to what I'm telling you. I wouldn't be on here wasting my energy telling you. AI will own your copyright. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay? So think about that when you decide to start using AI. Be very conscious of that. Read all the disclaimers because I promise you, you'll come back to this video and comment and you'll thank me. The future is in you building your relationships with your fans. The future is in you as a musician and producer to produce your work. Don't be lazy and use a system that's going to own what you have paid them to create. If you pay Stone Paxton to produce a song, I'm going to own at least half of that. AI is saying, I own all of it. Now, if I produce the lyrics and music, I'm owning all of it. I'm telling you, AI is whoever created this AI system for the music situation. I forgot the guy's name. He was smart enough to go, hey, I'm going to do just like the music industry does. I'm going to create a system, and there's many different companies that have created this. I'm going to create a system that says, if I produce the music, right? If I produce the music, if they produce the music through my system, we own the music. If we produce the lyrics, we own the lyrics. We produce the music and lyrics, we own everything. That's AI. So what are they doing? Are they doing anything bad? And in reality, they're not. They're doing the same thing. They're using the same model that's been used in the music industry. You go to a producer and he wrote it and produced it, he owns it. If you go to a record company who signs you, they're going to control the publishing. They're going to typically administer 25% of the publishing, as well as them using their own producers so that they can control the copyright as well, as much ownership. It's that same thing when you use AI. AI is pretty much like a record company in a box. Besides the fact that they're not, and I'm sure some of them are going to try to start offering distribution. So you create it through their system, then they say, hey, but it's going to be a button that says distribute this right now. Why would they create distribution within their system? So they can monitor the stuff that they allowed you to use that they own. This is smart. It's genius. They didn't change anything. They just jumped on what was already there. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And they said, we're just going to create that in the digital world. So listen, when I say AI owns your music, AI does own your music. For those that have decided to use AI to write and produce your music, better believe they own your music. Better believe they own the copyright. Stone Paxton Music and Life podcast, you guys. Listen, thank you for clocking in. Check me out on the next video, you guys. Peace. And I'm out. Stone Paxton Music and Life.